and Nero was about to turn Christian suffering into entertainment. The Romans had arenas, places where crowds gathered to watch bloodshed. Gladiators fought. Animals were released. People died while thousands watched. But now, Christians were being brought into these spectacles. Their suffering was no longer hidden behind prison walls. It was placed before the eyes of Rome, and the crowd was invited to watch. One of the cruelest punishments was reserved for public spectacle. Christians could be exposed to wild animals. Imagine standing alone on the arena floor, hearing thousands of people screaming from the seats, then hearing the roar of an animal approaching from somewhere behind you. There was nowhere to hide. No army, no weapon, only faith and death approaching. But Nero's cruelty went even further. Tacitus describes Christians being covered in the skins of wild animals. Then they were placed before animals. The punishment was designed not merely to kill them, but to humiliate them, to strip them of dignity, to make them appear like prey, to make their deaths into a joke. And while Rome laughed, the Christians suffered. Others were crucified. The same method of execution associated with Jesus himself, and the condemned were left hanging beneath the Roman sky. For the Christians, this was more than execution. It was a deliberate attempt to mock the very faith they refused to abandon. Rome was saying, "You claim to follow a crucified king, then die like him." Perhaps the most horrifying punishment, described by Tacitus, came after darkness fell. Some Christians were burned, not simply executed. Their bodies were used as human torches. Nero's gardens became the setting, and as night descended over Rome, the emperor turned human suffering into illumination. Think about the horror of that night. The screams, the smoke, the smell of burning wood, the terrified faces in the darkness, and surrounding them a crowd. The suffering of human beings had become a Roman evening show, and Nero watched. Tacitus tells us that Nero offered his own gardens for the spectacle. The emperor of Rome, watching condemned Christians die, while the city around him looked on. The cruelty became so extreme that even some Romans began to feel pity. Tacitus tells us that compassion arose among the people,